I know, I haven't recorded anything in almost 3 weeks again, but please let me explain. Basically, my PC broke. Don't worry, I have a new one, everything is set up, I can start making analysis videos again. Also, you have probably already noticed that my mic sounds different. That's because I have a new system now and it kinda messed with my mic, so sorry about that. If you need more explanation about my disappearance for 3 weeks, comment down below and I might make a video about it. Anyways, it's time to analyze another racing game. This time we are analyzing a game called Redline Rumble 2 Detonator. Hi everyone, as always Patrick here. If you're already subscribed, make sure you turn on notifications, otherwise YouTube won't tell you if I posted anything. If you are new to the channel, make sure you watch until the very end and consider subscribing if you like it. Okay, Redline Rumble 2 Detonator. Redline Rumble 2 Detonator is a shockwave game. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any info about when this game was released, and I also couldn't find info about who made the game. Sorry about that. If you have any info about the game, the release date, and who made the game, please let me know in the comments down below. For now, let us start where I usually start, the graphics. Graphically, it looks like any other Shockwave game released back in the 2000s. However, this one has few more graphical effects that make it look better. You can change the settings in the options. They don't change much, but they do change small, or should I say minor things. When it comes to the art style, the game takes place in Alaska, which is usually associated with snow. And that's what you're seeing right now. A lot of snowy places, in fact every stage is snowy, but it actually makes for a pretty good atmosphere. I will explain more about the atmosphere in the gameplay because it has an impact on the gameplay. For now, let's move on to the next segment, the story. Now you're probably thinking there's no story, right? Well, I have news for you. There is actually a story. It's a very basic story, but the game has a story nonetheless. So let's talk about it. The game takes place shortly after Redline Rumble 1. The player got kidnapped by a sinister spectator. The spectator has prepared a very special and crazy challenges for you, the player, that you have to compete in. And unfortunately you have no choice, you can't escape. Actually you can escape, but the only way you can escape is by completing his challenges. The spectator has also prepared you a special car. The reason the car is special is because it's rigged with explosives. If you do not complete the stages in time, your car will go boom boom, and so will you. So basically the story boils down to you are racing for your life and for the sinister spectator's enjoyment. Like I've said before, the story is very simple, but at least it makes sense. At least you know what to do. At least you know what's at stake. And that's basically all I have to say about the story. Now we can talk about the thing that actually matters, the gameplay. Let's talk about the basic stuff first. There are 3 stages in the game, each one takes approximately 3 minutes to complete, which means the game takes approximately 10 minutes to complete, which is not a lot, but for a Shockwave game that's an okay time. Each one of these stages take place in Alaska. The first stage are basically snowy fields, which you saw before. The second stage that you're seeing right now is in a snowy cave, and the third stage is in a snowy canyon. There's a lot of snow. Each stage has its own gimmick. For example, the first stage has boom booms and falling trees, which don't destroy you. Same for the boom booms. They just slow you down. The second stage has icicles and rolling boulders. The icicles don't destroy you. As a matter of fact, there's a glitch which you can use the icicles to gain speed to help you complete the stage faster. However, the rolling boulders, if you touch them, you're done, so don't touch them. The third stage has falling boulders, or should I say pillars, sorry, falling pillars, and rolling boulders in random directions. Don't worry, the falling pillars won't destroy you. Now let's talk about two mechanics, the boom boom in your car and the checkpoint system. Every time you start the stage, you start with 1 minute. You have only 1 minute to reach the next checkpoint. Once you reach that checkpoint, the time resets to 1 minute, and then you can continue the race. There are 3 checkpoints in each stage. The first two basically reset your timer to 1 minute, and the last checkpoint is basically a finish line. Cross the finish line and you have completed the stage. Obviously, right? One more thing about the timer, which is pretty obvious, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. When the timer reaches 0, your car goes boom boom and you're going down with the car, so be quick. Now let's talk about the car you're driving and the controls. Throughout the entire game, you use one car, and this is the car you're seeing right now, a black Subaru, I think. The game doesn't have licensed cars, or should I say licensed car, since there's only one car in the game. As for the car and the controls, well, the controls are slippery, but considering the fact that the game takes place in Alaska and snowy environments, this actually makes sense. Despite the fact that the controls and the car is slippery, the controls are good for a shockwave game. In this game you use arrow keys to move. You know, basic stuff. And because this is a shockwave game, you can't change your controls, so you have to play with the arrow keys. The controls are responsive, they feel good, and they also are satisfying to use. The only complaint I have, or should I say a nitpick, well, if you turn too much, your car kinda slides all over the place in a weird way, so you will always end up crashing into something, or almost always. Don't worry, this all makes sense though. The reason I'm saying this is because this is just a nitpick. You could argue that this was done intentionally, sorry. You know, ice, snow, slippery stuff. I think it all makes sense when you put it into that perspective. Now we have come to the almost final thing I need to analyze, the bad qualities, or should I say the only bad quality. The boulders in levels 2 and 3 are tricky. Sometimes you just don't really know where to move and you will end up being destroyed by a boulder in an unfair way. I'm guessing it has to do something with the collision detection, although I'm not sure. In level 2, When you see a boulder, you just move to the side, left or right, it doesn't matter which side you move to, and that way you can dodge the boulder and you're good to go. This is a bigger problem in stage 3, however, because the boulders move in random directions and you don't really know where to move. And because the collision is slightly broken in level 3 for some reason, don't worry, it's only for the boulders. Other obstacles work as intended. Since the boulder collisions are slightly broken in level 3, you will be destroyed in unfair ways, so keep that in mind if you're going to play this game. There's one more important thing I have to say about this game. If you're a pretty weak player, don't pick this as your first racing game. You will end up frustrated, you will be angry because you will probably be constantly losing. So just a quick PSA, don't pick this as your first racing game, play something easier. In conclusion, is Redline Rumble 2 Detonator worth playing? Yes, I would say so. The only problem is if you want to play it nowadays, you have to look for a workaround or use Blue Maxima Flashpoint. This is a Shockwave game after all, and every Shockwave game got removed, so look for a workaround or just use Blue Maxima Flashpoint, whatever floats your boat. Redline Rumble 2 offers a basic story, somewhat decent level design, okay gimmicks, and a fun challenge. So yeah, if you want to play this, then go play it. But if you don't want to be angry all the time, just go play something easier. One thing I forgot to mention is the fact that there was supposed to be episode 2, episodic content, but if you've played any game with episodic content, you know how that ends up. The game never got episode 2 and instead we got Redline Rumble 3, which is a massive step down in my opinion, but that's just me. So sadly, the story that this game sets up ends on a cliffhanger, which is sad, but that's what we have to live with. Oh, sorry, I meant to say that's what we have to deal with. But that pretty much sums up everything I wanted to say in this analysis video. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.